Alright, hey, hi, hello. How's it going, guys? My name is ZetaRayZod, and welcome back to one of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Now, before I begin, be sure to like, subscribe, and get that bell icon so you stay up to date on all my latest videos. So, I think this is the last episode. I said in the previous episode that it might be the last episode, but it's this one. I'm pretty sure it's this one. From what we left off, we kind of poked a hole in Graydon's testimony because the evidence that Sholmes gave to us was actually the cat flapomatic. Flapoman. And the reason why we gave it is because it turns out if you look at the photos, you look at the door specifically, from 1 a.m. and 1:30 a.m., you can see there's a door flat now. And that's because Susato-san actually made a flat in the door in between that time. So we kind of proved that there's no way that Graydon should have known about that cat flap door because he was there before 1:30 a.m. When he shot. I was gonna say McGilden, when he shot Mr. Windybank. And because of that, we kind of figured out, like, how does he know that, you know? And it turns out that Gregson's actually helping him in exchange for the disc which he had. So there were 2 discs. So that's kind of where we left off. Now they're kind of asking us, like, you know, present evidence to someone, and I don't know who. I'm gonna say Graydon. Mr. Graydon, there's one final piece of evidence I would like you to see. You misguided fool. Whatever you intend to show me now, you'll be wasting your time. I have nothing left to lose. Except your dignity, sir. I assure you, I will admit to nothing. Shit, did I pick the wrong one? It's my last chance. Looks like I'm gonna have to force his hand here. One final piece of evidence to get him to admit to the deal he clearly struck on the stand. Shit. To get him to admit to the deal he struck. Is it the disc? Is it the disc? Is that Mr. McGillen's music box disc, counsel? Yes. Yes, the first disc of 2, which has already been placed in Mr. McGillen's special music box, ready to play. I think perhaps now would be a good time to listen to the sound produced by the music box again. Only this time, with the second disc we've just discovered set in place as well. Goodness, this disc, counsel. No, wait, I can't let you do that. Why not? Because it's got nothing to do with the case, that's why. Not true, Inspector. Eh? The defense has already proposed that the sounds heard by the court earlier from this music box were part of a Morse code message. Oh, we got it. We know that Morse code comprises of 2 distinct tones. The defense believes that the second disc contains the second tone needed to complete the message. And now we have a chance to confirm that theory. For crying out loud, Sunshine, we're talking about state secrets here. If you go letting the whole courtroom hear confidential information like that, it's treason. Then do you admit the charge? That in order to protect those state secrets, you engage in unlawful dealings with the witness? You're mad. If you let that secret information out into public domain, you'll be making an enemy of the entire British Empire, you idiot. Let's not forget, Inspector, that you, a Scotland Yard officer, leaked confidential case details to a witness. That you continue to lie to the court, and all because by fair means or foul, you're determined to do your duty. Well, by fair means or foul, I'm prepared to do mine. Don't you dare. I will stop at nothing to protect my client. I don't care who I make an enemy of. Damn, Naruhodo. Damn. Does he agree? I feel like he would. My lord, if you please, the court must hear the sounds made by that music box. Come on, Nancy, for Pete's sake, stop it! Hoo-hoo. Inspector, you should know my methods by now. I'm a prosecutor. I'm no Scotland Yard puppet. Ugh. In this courtroom, my duty is to the law, so let me propose a toast to uncovering the truth by fair means or foul. No! Ooh. Yeah, see, he's an idiot, but he's a lawful guy, you know. Very well. The defense's stance here in that of the prosecution has been made very clear, I feel. Therefore, in accordance with the defense's request, The court will now listen as this music box is set in operation once more. Here we go. This time with the second disc in place, and both discs playing simultaneously. Here we go. Anybody of you know Morse code, go for it. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, listen to that. It's unmistakable now. It's Morse code. Alright, I admit it. Whatever you want. But for the love of God, shut that blooming box up. Ooh. Does that mean he's going to jail or that he loses his license? His badge. License to like police work? No, it's a badge. Let me ask you again then, Inspector Gregson. Did you, or did you not, strike a deal with the witness next to you in the stand, Mr. Ashley Graydon? Specifically, did you furnish the witness with confidential case details in exchange for this music box disc? Did you reveal the existence of the peephole in the pawnbroker's storeroom door, Inspector? I did. Stop! What are you doing, man? It's all exactly like the young Easton lawyer said. When the trial resumed after the recess, when we were stood here in stand together, that's when he approached me with the deal. Shut up, you imbecile! Shut up! Psst. You there. You're a detective who turned up at the pawnbroker the other day, aren't you? I may have something you're looking for, Inspector. With me at this very moment. So how about a trade? I suggest you accept. Or information that may make certain individuals uncomfortable will soon become very public indeed. Couldn't let that information become public knowledge, not under any circumstances. So I accepted the man's proposal and told him details about the case that should have put him in the clear. The peephole in the storeroom door, the bloodstains on the overcoat. By giving false testimony, this witness intended to have the defendant wrongly accused of murder. Inspector, you knew that. Yet you still revealed those details that facilitate the witness's perjury. I did. But then it turned out the peephole had only been made that night after the incident took place. Scotland Yard wasn't aware of that, and if I'm perfectly honest... Well, Mr. Graydon, what do you have to say for yourself? There's nothing and no one left for you to hide behind. You struck a deal with the inspector in order to escape conviction of a very serious crime. Namely this. You are the third intruder who broke into the pawnbroker on the night in question. And you perpetrate the murder of the proprietor, Mr. Pop Windybank. You. Ooh. Traitor! Oh lord! Holy shit! Holy shit! Holy shit! Did he bring us back? Bailiff! Bailiff! Restrain that man! At once! I think he's okay, right? Like, Gregson's practically all chin and no neck. It's just like, slants out like that. That's it then. It's all over. We did it. We finally did. Can you... Oh, man. I hope it doesn't end just like that. I despised my life growing up. Those slums are vile places. I was cursed from birth. Born into poverty, the son of a penniless artisan. My parents did nothing but quarrel all day long. What little money they had was never spent on me. Oh, poor Graydon. So I set about studying, to better myself, to one day escape from that hellhole. And you eventually became a communications officer. I admire your determination. But then you decide to try to sell government secrets. Why? Isn't it obvious? Because I wanted money. Even now, years later, the nightmares of my life in the slums wake me in the small hours. I wanted to drown them out, with more money than anyone who lived in a squalor could ever imagine. Then one day, I met him. Mr. Magnus McGilded. Hi. You're a fiend with acquired talent, so you are. I've money to throw your way if you're interested. All you need to do is go along with my little plan now. I was to steal the ministry's telegraphic message logs and McGilded buy them for a handsome sum. As I was responsible for inspections of the ministry's communications office, it was a simple enough task. The lure of the devil's offerings. How easy it is to succumb. But you must surely have realized the seriousness of the crime you were committing. And for that reason, I took great lengths to ensure that my actions were untraceable. By using the music box. My father was a brickmaker, though my mother divorced him when I was still a child. Yeah, Mr. Mason Milverton. That's right. He was very skilled with his hands. He'd once been a music box maker's apprentice. I imagined his skills would be sufficient to create a machine that could generate Morse code. So I sought out my father again, to employ his services. It was the first time I'd seen him since I left the slums 10 years earlier. Oh boy, I don't think I have a voice for this guy. Look at you, Ashley. What a fine gent you've become, eh? He was a different man to the one in my memory. Thin, frail old man. But poverty had never broken him. It never corrupted him like it had me. I was sure that he wouldn't help me if I told him the real reason. So I made up a story. I've got some work for you, Father. I need some music box disc made. Music box disc, eh? A musician friend of mine has written some music he wants to sell to the public. I brought the score with me. There are two, actually. I should be delighted, son. It's been 20 years since I did any work like this, though. Fetch my tools with you. They're in the loft. That's how I had him make the two discs. Thereby splitting the information in two, for taking considerable precautions indeed. It was to protect myself as much as anything. It meant that I could deal with McGilded in two separate transactions. The first involved the first of the two discs and the music box for playing them. I exchanged them with McGilded for 10 guineas. Then, on receipt of the second disc, he would pay me 1,000 guineas. It's a lot. So, what happened on the omnibus 2 months ago? Was the second part of the deal the exchange of the second disc? Yes. I'd sold the man the information that way a number of times already, but it seems he became reluctant to part of his money. But that doesn't quite make sense, Mr. Graydon. For why was it that on the omnibus 2 months ago, your father, Mr. Middleton, was the one dealing with Mr. McGilded and not yourself? When I received 1,000 guineas after my first completed dealings with McGilded, I decided to give 200 to my father for his troubles. My father realized something was amiss. In time, he worked out that I must be involved in something dubious. And when he did, he said to me, "Next time there's an exchange, you'll let your old man do it, understand? Otherwise, I won't take your money anymore." Why did he do that? Does that mean he's corrupted? Or did he mean he wanted to save his son? That was my father's way of dealing with it, I suppose. Climb into the omnibus, hand over the second disc, and take the money from McGilded. That's it. He had no idea what was actually on the disc I asked him to make. He never knew. Just like I'll never know why everything went so horribly wrong that night. All I know is that the disc was taken from him, and he never returned home. You killed him, didn't ya? You killed McGilded. You got to. It was only then that I found out what sort of monster McGilded really was. So after 10 years of not once uttering it, I swore my father's name. Wow. To exact revenge. Revenge? You killed him! You killed McGilded! As anyone with even the remotest knowledge of the man will no doubt be able to imagine, McGilded brought all his wealth and influence to bear in the most despicable of ways. To crush any semblance of justice in his trial. The crime scene was tampered with, evidence was fixed, and witnesses were bribed. That trial 2 months ago was a farce from start to finish. My feet had barely touched British soil back then, Jesus. I walked into that hornet's nest, completely unaware of the sinister background to it all. I made plenty of money out of my dealings in McGilded by then, so I spared nothing in my arrangements 2 months ago. I knew exactly who to hire. If you're willing to pay the price, there are people in this city willing to do anything you ask. McGilded himself had shown me that. Are you saying that? I think you have the picture now. After he twisted everything to his favor in his courtroom to ensure that he walked free, I took matters into my own hands and delivered the justice that monster deserved. I knew it. I freaking knew it. That tragic accident following the trial here 2 months ago was planned and executed by yours truly. McGillet's death that day was caused by this man. Oh shit. Everything is ready, sir, if you'd like to follow me into the courtroom. Ooh, maybe the bailiff was the one that killed him. What's this, officer? It's sooner than I was led to believe. Hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There were some changes to the schedule. Well, I must be making tracks now. It's time for the inspection. They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. That's what got you killed. Should have walked away when you had the chance. Is that a policeman who came to tell McGillet he could examine the omnibus again? That's right. An imposter, hired by me. Oh boy. McGillet used his wealth to manipulate the trial. He paid people to adulterate the omnibus with all manner of false evidence. He threatened witnesses to lie in their testimony. So I gave the man a taste of his own medicine. Oh my god. Got it like a frog in my throat. Once the omnibus was doused in paraffin, one of my sham policemen ushered McGillet inside and sent him on a one-way journey to hell. An eye for an eye. That's how I avenged my father's death. A spine-chilling account indeed. But that wasn't the end of it for me. That was a loose end, you see. A loose end? Yeah. I should think it's obvious. The second disc, which my father had taken to exchange for McGildet. Ah, yes. There was indeed no mention of it in the man's trial 2 months ago. Clearly because it had been removed from the scene of the crime. When I realized it was missing, I remembered something. Something from the first time I dealt with McGildet. What was it? This is the first of the 2 discs, and the music box you need to play them. Well, look at that now. What an ingenious little invention. So then, as promised, 10 guineas for you, young man. What's this? Winnipeg's pawnbrokery? Aye, 'tis a pawnbroker's ticket, so it is. You can use it to redeem an article I've deposited there for you. There's no need to give a name, just hand over the ticket and tell the fee in the watchword. I put the jewel in pawn for you. I'll fetch you a good 10 guineas if you sell it, so then. I've never heard of a pawnbroker being used in quite that way before. Have you not, Mr. Graydon? London's pawnbrokers are very useful places, you know. Each one is like an extremely secure vault. Interesting. So he remembered that name of the pawnbroker and he went in. So I knew that if he'd taken steps to hide the disc, it would be in that pawnbrokery somewhere. And that on the night he killed my father. And that on the night he killed my father, he must have entrusted the ticket to someone. Yes, to Gina. I remember now that when we first met you at Winnipeg that afternoon 2 days ago, you had a description of Miss Lestrade written down. How did you know who you were looking for? From the trial. That pickpocket's testimony is clearly peculiar. Anyone could see that. I realized immediately that she was another McGillet's pawns, that he must have threatened her somehow. I was fairly convinced that it would be her who had the ticket, so I started to make some inquiries. I had a strong suspicion the girl would come out of the woodwork on the redemption deadline. And he was absolutely right. And yes, sure enough, she did. Why didn't you just redeem it before? All I needed to do was wait until the girl went to Winniebank's to redeem the articles. But, unfortunately, she redeemed only McGilded's overcoat and the one disc that was in his pocket. The all-important music box with the second disc inside was missing, because it had already been forfeited 2 days earlier. But I was unaware of that fact. Had I not been, I could have avoided my nighttime excursion. Meanwhile, as our investigation to the stolen government secrets was progressing, we picked up on the fact that McGilded was involved. Inspector, you've recovered fast. My orders were to recover the stolen information as quickly as possible, so we started gathering the fellow's possessions and examining whatever we could lay our hands on. We had a full-scale investigation going on at the yard, but we had to keep it as quiet as we could. Then, when the inspector here took the disc from me in the pawnbrokery that day, I became nervous. I was sure the music box and the second disc were still there in the shop somewhere, so I knew there was a race against time. I had to find those articles before the police did. So that's what prompted you to break into the place that same night. With the help of your old friends, the Skulkin brothers. What happened that night in the pawnbrokery, I can only describe as a nightmare. While Nash and Ringo were searching the counter, I located the music box I sold to McGilded on the shelves of forfeited articles. And the second disc was inside? Yes. I slipped it into my pocket with a very deep sigh of relief. But then, something entirely unexpected happened. What are you doing in my shop? Bang, bang, bang! A gunshot rang out in the shop, and I felt a sharp pain in my left arm. The broker fired his gun, and the bullet pierced your limb. Yes, exactly. But unfortunately, I decided to bring my own gun with me that night, just in case. Oh, shit. So he didn't mean to kill him? Before I knew what was happening, I fired back. The man had already turned to flee. I had intended to fire in his direction, much less kill him. But unfortunately for both of us, the bullet hit home. It struck him in the middle of his back as he fled through the storeroom door for refuge. Sorry tale. It all took place in the blink of an eye. I don't imagine Nash and Ringo even realized what had happened at first. I was terrified, so I fled. And that's the whole story. That's everything that happened in Winniebank's on that wretched night. He's gonna hang. He's gonna swing. Treason and murder. Double whammy. Do I feel bad for him? Maybe a little, but he was willing to, blatantly lie and all that jazz, so you know. Earlier, you called McGilded a monster, a man who used his wealth and influence to distort the facts and escape justice for the crime of murder. What tragic irony, for what you have done is exactly the same. You've become the very monster you saw and despised so deeply in McGilded. Yes, I think I have. Well, at least he's a bit... what's the word?
Well, this has been a long and exhausting trial. However, we have seen that at last we have arrived at the truth. Inspector Gregson, what of Mr. Ashley Graydon?
He's been restrained, my lord, and is being escorted to the yard. He'll be charged with the murder of Mr. Winniebank and the stealing of government secrets.
Very good. And you, Inspector? Regrettably, you will have to face charges yourself.
Yes, my lord, of course. It transpires that you're complicit in helping a criminal escape justice. That fact remains whether or not you're doing so in the line of duty. The crime is a serious one, Inspector, and inexcusable.
Now to the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. Oh yeah? It's time for the final adjudication. Is the jury ready, Mr. Foreman? Yes, sir. Get it up, squadron. Stand by, sir. This is really it now. The last push, the final call, the finishing whistle. My men are ready to deliver their verdicts. Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Very well. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will now declare your final decisions to the court.
無罪
無罪
無罪無罪
無罪
無罪
Muzai. Hell yeah. Haha! Last stuff. I'm off the hook. She's like, I'm gonna go robbing again. Finally, Runo, you managed to do it. Finally is the right word. Early wasn't sure if you'd come out on top for a while there.
Susie was right. You're the best lawyer in the world. Miss Lestrade, I am not finished with you yet.
Hey? What are you looking at me like that for?
Before you start enjoying your freedom, there are certain other crimes to consider.
Hey? Yeah, perjury.
2 months ago, in my courtroom no less, you gave false testimony, did you not? And in relation to the trial today, not only did you unlawfully enter Windybank's pawnbrokery, you also attempted to abscond with Mr. McGillet's property, it seems.
I never done nothing of the sort. Of course not. It's not like you were gleefully wearing McGillet's coat in your cell yesterday or anything.
Just when I was getting excited about throwing a party for Ginny this evening. And turning our attention to the defense. Determining that when played together, the music box disc contained a message in Morse code was, well, it was certainly a most unexpected revelation, counsel.
Quite so, my lord. The prosecution was caught entirely off guard. In fact, I think we should applaud my learned friend's courage here today. I propose a toast to demanding that government secrets be disseminated before the entire courtroom. Bastard. Very sorry about that. It was the only way that I could get Inspector Gregson to admit what he done. So if I may say something on that point. Who's this? Isn't that? Oh, it's about the sounds produced by the music box before. I do wonder if that was really Morse code at all. What? What are you saying, madam? Oh, well, it's just that I'm really rather fanatical when it comes to Morse code, you see. So much so that the whole world seems to be covered in dots and dashes to me, in fact.
Goodness, madam. An unhealthy level of obsession, one feels. But I must say that in my opinion, the sounds produced by those 2 discs were nothing more than that. A meaningless series of serious, I think she meant series, of 2 different tones. What? What? Can that really be? Was it Morse code after all? He admitted to it though.
My lord, the defense would like to listen to Ming's box again. Are you off your nut? How many times do I have to tell you? Those discs contain ministerial secrets, sunshine. This courtroom is not an appropriate forum to discuss the nature of the government communications. We know McGildet conspired to trade national secrets with our enemies, secrets acquired from Mr. Graydon. Now that the man has admitted to his crimes, we have no need to pursue the matter further. Agreed. What does it matter? He said he did it in Morse code. Who cares if it's bullshit right now?
It's Lestrade. My lord. That which you have seen today here in the courtroom has been extremely disturbing.
Falsified evidence, intimidation, perjury, a grim catalog depravity.
An appalling experience to befall any child.
Come on, I ain't nothing I don't see most days in the back slums.
I beg your pardon.
If you're weak, you pay for it. That's just how life goes. Gina. But look, I reckon I've worked something out today. The world ain't fair, but if you want it to change, you've got to start at home. You've got to change how you are yourself. Good on you, yeah. It's perfect, that's right.
Well, that's a very laudable lesson, I would say. I eagerly look forward to the born-again Mr. Lestrade never gracing my courtroom with her presence again. Now, with regard to the murder of Mr. Pop Windybank, proprietor of pawnbrokery business on Baker Street, I hereby declare the defendant Miss Gina Lestrade.
Who's I? Yeah, boy, fireworks. How dramatic this courtroom is, right? You're like, oh my god, not guilty. Oh, wow. Jesus. Just shot a gun in the air. You guys not suspicious about that? That is all. Court is adjourned. Nice. We did it. And that sounds like... Oh. You guys gonna talk about... On a personal note, I must say you've surprised me, my Far Eastern friend. Oh. Despite being a Nipponese, you saw through the pretense to the malice that festered within that Englishman, and at the same time, saw through the grime to the surprising heart of your English client. You have a curious talent for judging character, especially considering our very different cultures. I don't think there's anything curious about it. Whether we're from the Empire of Great Britain or the Empire of Japan, we're all human beings. We're not so very different on the inside. You know, I took this case for one very simple reason. To lock swords with you once again here in the courtroom. You did. When I encountered you for the first time 2 months ago, it reminded me of toasting friendship and trust with another Nipponese, only to find my trust betrayed. Oh. Through you, I hope to look into the eyes of the man I once knew and try to understand. Who's this guy? He mentioned something similar earlier today, about total betrayal at the hands of the Japanese. What happened exactly? Well, you may ask. And one day, when the time comes, you will learn the answer whether you like it or not. So there's another guy that came before me? A Japanese guy? Alright, then I'll wait for that day if I must. Coming to be known as the Reaper of the Bailey and my retirement from service 5 years ago, it gives me cause to wonder if our meeting has some deeper purpose. So, farewell, my learned Nipponese fellow. Until we meet again. Wow. So are we like friendly rivals now? So does he hate all Japanese or just like that one guy that betrayed him? I don't know. Alright. Gina didn't get punished, did she? For the perjury and all that shit? It's done. It's over at last. Whew. But where's Iris disappeared to? Oh! Congratulations, Gina! I knew it all along. I knew that you were innocent. Well, you did what you said, Mr. Naruhodo. You believed in me, right up to the end. You're as old as your name. It's all about it. I told you I had faith in you, didn't I? No one's ever asked before, see. Kept a promise, I mean. Properly. It's awful. I figured something out today. All my life growing up in the slums, I've never trusted no one. But that's just because I've been scared of being stabbed in the back. I mean, the more you trust someone, the more it hurts when they let you down. Yeah, I think I can understand that. After all, I had a taste of it in that trial 2 months ago. I just trust someone, and paid for it. That betrayal left a big scar. You know though, Gina, I worked something out quite recently too. Trusting in someone else is really an exercise in learning to trust yourself. And when your gut tells you it's the right thing to do, and your trust is rewarded, there's no better feeling in the world. I think I have you to thank for reminding me of that valuable lesson. Oh, well, if you say so. To make a fat lot of sense to me though. I'm trying to say that putting my faith in you, Gina, has been a real pleasure. For crying out loud, pack it in. But I suppose I sort of feel the same way. I mean, sometimes trusting someone else is, you know, alright. Thanks. bags. This is the way I see it. Ryonosuke. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. After this experience, I'm starting to feel like I understand what you mean. Kazuma, am I living up to your expectations? Am I turning out to be the lawyer you believed I could be? Pardon the interruption. Is it Iris? Oh, it's Sholmes. But what the deuce does a man have to do to be noticed around here, my dear fellow? Oh, that voice. It's too late for that voice now, Mr. Naruhodo. I've been standing here patiently in the corner of the room for an eternity. Yes, it was me all along. I would have said when you finally noticed me. But you people with your incessant babbling. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. Haha, yes, it was me all along. See? So dramatic. I'd assume you've been taken back to a hospital, to be honest. Indeed I was, but I managed to escape again. Oh. I happen to be aware of one or two foibles of the doctors who were attending to me. I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily issued me with leave of absence. How very bored. But enough of my adventures. That was a fine victory, Miss Naruhodo. Your tireless efforts justly rewarded, I feel. Congratulations are in order. As a close friend, I tip my hat at you. Oh, thank you. Some great detective you are. Okay, being cold as ice, baby. Have I hurt you in some way, Mr. Strahd? While you've been having a snooze in your nice soft bed, some of us have been fighting for our lives. Ah, well, that bullet did cause me to lose a substantial amount of blood, it's true. So I have indeed been feeling somewhat cold. Not perhaps as cold as ice, but, well, have a feel. Okay, could you take your hands off my neck, please, Mr. Sholmes? Like sweated away. And in some way, I suppose, congratulations are in order for you too, Miss Lestrade. What's that supposed to mean? Ways to half-hearted. Well, actually, it isn't my intention to alarm you, but an acquittal in a trial of that particular prosecutor is perhaps a little precarious. Well done, Mr. Sholmes. Not alarming in the slightest. Oh, the Reaper, you mean? Cause anyone's not feeling gutsy, the trial he was working on winds up dead anyway, is that it? The very point I was trying to make, yes. As exemplified by the fate of Mr. McGilded, in fact. Ah, but of course, I pay no attention to such irrational drivel myself. Yeah, well, that don't bother me. Oh, really? Of course not. The way I see it, the Reapers are like upstairs. Him upstairs? You mean like God? Yeah. Him upstairs knows what's what, right? He knows what people are like on the inside. You won't have got the wrong end of the stick. There's some coves like that bolt trotter, well, rotten to the core. At the end of the day, him upstairs make sure they get what they deserve. I suppose that's one way of looking at it. Sure. Divine justice is one thing though. The Reaper taking matters into his own hands and claiming lives is another. Well, I ain't like that McGilded sort of sweater, so I ain't scared. I got principles, you see. Pickpocketing. Trait in you which is to be admired, Mr. Stride. Oh, just get a rest, alright? As I was saying, congratulations on order. The news of your acquittal was very welcome news to me indeed. Let me express my heartfelt congratulations, Gina. Well, there you are, Hurley. How long have you been here? Honestly, I went to the main entrance especially to meet you there. Oh, Iris, my dear, I do apologize. But wait until I tell you what happened. This pair made utter fools of themselves. What happened? As you know, I have a penchant for disguise. I was hiding in this room dressed as a bailiff. But these dolts didn't notice my presence at all. They had no idea. Can you imagine, Iris? Would you credit it? I'm not sure, really. I beg your pardon? Sorry, Hurley, but you just don't have the weighty presence you seem to think you have. In fact, you really ought to be careful about that. It's gonna land you in trouble one day. I'll be careful. Ouch. Anyway, it's such a shame. I'm still hoping to throw a party for Gina tonight, but you won't be able to come, will you? Don't look like I'm gonna be going nowhere for a while. You had the judge's patter. I got stuff to make amends for, apparently. All them offences. What was it again? Breaking and entering. Taking a boat for our stuff, what was in log, blah blah blah. Yeah, I think you'll find that basically being a pickpocket is the main offence. But they even an offence? That's a job, isn't it? Nope, I don't think so. Nope. Wrong. Still, that's got me thinking all this. Maybe I should start looking for another line of work. I mean, I didn't start off as a lawyer, did you, Odo? Well, no, but I was never a pickpocket. Well, anyway, I reckon I can make a change. I'm gonna do something for all that lot like me from the slums. Something that makes a difference for them. It's a wonderful idea, Gina. I'm sure you can do it. What is it? Oh, she's crying. Nothing. Miss Gina Lestrade. Oh, the prison carriage has arrived, ma'am. Come with me to the rear gate at once. Right. Well, looks like I'm off then. Yep. Goodbye, Gina, and good luck. Odo. Yeah. Oh. What are you doing? What are you doing? Ugh! Ugh! What was that for? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say, so... Ah, indeed. Perhaps the situation calls for a phrase hitherto missing from your vocabulary, Mr. Stride. Eh? On occasions such as this, I would recommend a simple thank you. Oh. Oh yeah. That's good advice, Ginny. Right, I see. Well... Thanks, Odo. Ah. She's crying. Oh no. Thank you for everything what you've done. For believing in me. Ah. Not at all. In fact, that should be my line. Thank you, Gina. Oh, cute. Cute. Now what? Well, there she goes. I wonder if I'll ever see her again. Damn, bro, she's not going away that long. Well. Quite the indomitable prick purse. Oh, I nearly forgot. I bought a paper outside. It's a special edition, and this trial is all over the front page. Pickpocket's innocence proven. Isn't it wonderful? Should have shown it to Gina, Iris. Should have been thrilled. Oh no! How silly of me! Ah, but anyway, would you like the good news or the bad news? Oh, not again. Well, what do you say, Rito? Hurley? As usual, I think I'd better get the bad news out of the way first. Absolutely not. I have no intention of listening to anything but good news. And there you have it. How people answer that question says a lot about them, doesn't it? Let's not go there. Alright then, maybe let's start with the good news this time. The rain has finally stopped. It was a record level rainfall, apparently. Well, that is good news indeed. We can journey back in greater comfort. Alright then, what's the bad news? The huge storm has left the seas very choppy. The channel in particular is awful, so sailings out of Dover has been delayed by a day or more. Wait, Dover? That's right. If we head to the station immediately, we may still make it in time to wave Susie off. Oh, she's still here, but there won't be a train, surely. We couldn't be that lucky. Who do you think I am, Miss Naruhodo? Mr. Schultz? I rushed to Victoria Station earlier and made arrangements for a special express. If we hurry now, we shall be there in time for dinner. And I know of a fine restaurant that serves the most delicious baked sole. I know. The Greek detective does it again. Indeed he does. I happen to be aware of a number of the rail transport director's foibles. What? I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily laid on the locomotive. Elementary. Just an idea, but it might be wise to stop manipulating people that way. What are we waiting for then? To London, Victoria. Are we gonna see Susato-san? That's nice. That feels like it's a good way to end the whole thing, you know? At least Susato's kind of still in it. Port of Dover. Quayside. It's pronounced Key, not Quay. That took somewhat longer than I anticipated. Susie's boat must be about to leave now. Miss Susato, where are you? Oh, there she is! Over there! Look! Looks like she's reading something.
Mata!
Mata! Miss Susato, wait! What are you doing?
Mr. Naruhodo, what are you doing here?
Came as soon as we could after the trial. I mean, we heard that sailings were being delayed due to this bad weather, you see.
Oh, I see. Then tell me, how did Gina's trial go?
It went well. She was acquitted. You're in trouble too, you know, you tempered evidence.
That's wonderful. Really wonderful news.
The book you're about to throw into the sea was your Encyclopedia of British Law, wasn't it?
Oh dear. I was hoping you hadn't seen that. I'm not worthy of practicing law in any way now. So I was saying my final farewell.
You're saying goodbye to law? You? Susato-san? Would I be correct in assuming it's because of the peephole, Miss Susato?
I deliberately altered the scene of the crime, and then I tried to hide the fact. What I did is utterly unforgivable. That reminds me. How did you even come to have this, Susie? On the evening of the incident, Mr. Sholmes had invited Gina to dinner, if you remember. Oh yeah, we had a wonderful time. Well, Gina gave us a little introductory lesson, didn't she? To the art of pickpocketing, I mean. Oh, that was so much fun. I stole Runo's armband.
Yeah, please don't do that again, Iris. That band's very important to me.
Well, if it's so important, you should pay more attention to it. You didn't notice for ages. On a whim, I thought it would be fun to see if I could take the cat flapper-man, so I put it up my sleeve.
Really?
And then I rather forgot about it, so I found myself in Mr. Wingbag's shop a bit later that night.
How can you forget that big ass thing sticking in your sleeves? What the frick? I see.
And then... Ah! Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes!
Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo. Right.
After Mr. Naruhodo had left the shop, I started to think... That door started to play on my mind. The storeroom door, you mean?
The storeroom door, you mean?
Yeah. If Gina was anywhere in the shop, I realized it could only be behind the door. And at that moment, the little device that I up my sleeve sprang to mind. I was so worried about Gina. I simply had to know.
So you used the cat flapperman to make the peephole in the door.
As captured in a photographic print of the shop. By one of Hurley's red-handed recorders.
Indeed. It was of the first importance at that point. Precisely when the peephole is made, that information would prove to be Mr. Naruhodo's greatest weapon. Though, naturally without proof, it would have amounted to nothing.
But when I looked through the hole in the door, the sight that met my eyes made my blood run cold. Thoughts started to run through my mind. I remembered that trial 2 months earlier.
Trial of Magnus McGilded.
Thought about how he had manipulated the evidence and arranged false testimony to secure his freedom. It made the British justice system feel very dark and sinister to me. And then, a terrible thought occurred to me. What if some wicked criminal was planning to do the same thing now? Because from the appearance of the crime scene, it looked exactly as though Gina had shot Mr. Windybank. Even though I was sure she would never have done such a thing.
You're worried that the true culprit would try to frame her for the crime.
That's right. But then I realized it would be very difficult for anyone to give false testimony in this case.
What do you mean?
Well, the crime appeared to have happened behind the door of a locked room. For someone to claim falsely to have witnessed it, there would have to be a way to see beyond the door.
Oh. For which, a peephole would be the very thing.
Only the peephole I made wasn't actually there until after the crime had been committed, of course. And the criminal would know that, so it wouldn't make any difference.
But the possibility of a rather ingenious trap was there, was it not? A trap? Is that why she did it?
So, is that why you kept it a secret, Susie? You never mentioned that you made the peephole to anyone, not even to the police. I know, and I knew at the time that what I was doing was wrong. Criminal offense, even. That's why I decided to confide in Mr. Sholmes. If Mr. Naruhodo was completely back in the corner with no other possible means of escape, the truth about the peephole could save him. That was my plan.
She really does think of everything. But then, why didn't you just tell me everything before the trial began? My dear fellow, you're not thinking straight. If she had done that, it would have rendered you complicit in the whole escapade.
Oh.
You could have been disbarred if you had been seen to have knowingly tampered with a crime scene. So, Mrs. Sato decided to shoulder the burden of responsibility alone. For your sake, and Miss Lestrade's.
Mrs. Sato. The truth is, when it happened, I did it because I lost a little of my faith in the law.
Oh.
I was worried that the right person wouldn't be convicted of the crime. But the moment I allowed myself to think that, it's the moment I lost my right to call myself a judicial assistant.
Well, what you did isn't comparable to what he did. Graydon is the one who lied in the witness stand, using that peephole as a way to implicate Gina. And besides, if the peephole inconsistency hadn't existed, I'm not at all sure that she would have been acquitted in the end. Mrs. Sato, what you did saved Gina's life.
Well, with your kind words, Miss Naruhodo, it saved me too from my regrets.
Well, we must all be thankful that Miss Lestrade's freedom has been assured. Yep, exactly. Although some of the loose ends in that trial will continue to play on my mind, I'm sure.
The revelation that the music box disc contains secret messages, Miss Naruhodo. What a triumph to work that out. I'm full of admiration.
Well, actually, that argument wasn't quite as compelling as I thought it was.
Oh, it wasn't?
It was a communications officer among the jury members, you see. Telegraph operator. And she said that the majority of the sounds on the disc were just meaningless tones. As one would expect, after all, we are talking about secret government communications. No doubt they're written in cipher to avoid being readily understood should they have been intercepted. In cipher? I see. So then we can never hope to understand the message anyway. Nonsense, my dear fellow. It's quite a zero-pipe problem, I assure you.
What?
So... Gi? What? Well, that can't be a real word, can it? How funny. Wait, Iris, what did you say? Oh, wow, I just got chills.
Oh, I just said asogi. Does that word mean something to you?
Means something? Sogi was the name of my best friend.
What? But how? How do you know that name, Iris? I wrote it down during the trial before, when the message was playing on the music box.
You described him on the fly? She really is a genius. What the frick is going on? Why is this... Wait, was Kazuma murdered, like, from a government conspiracy? What the frick?
I thought the message probably wouldn't be written out in plain Morse code, so I tried various ways to interpret it. But whatever I tried, the words just didn't seem to make any sense. That is, in English at least. Oh. It suddenly occurred to me, you see. There's more than one Morse code, not just the English variety. Various countries around the world have altered and added to Morse code to use it in their own languages.
I don't believe it. Are you saying?
That's right. I've only actually seen a chart of Japanese Morse code once before. But I think it's based on the Iroha pangram, isn't it?
And you mean to say that in Japanese Morse code the message says asogi? Yep, think so. Sorry, but I don't remember all of the Japanese Morse code.
Iris, would you let me see that?
Sato, do you know it? Do you know Japanese Morse code?
Yes, I spent some time studying it. Because I'm quite sure Morse code will become ever more important for international communications.
Wow, what a pioneer. Then might I recommend, my dear madam, that you focus your efforts on the English version?
Be that as it may, Iris, show me the message, please.
Of course.
But what can this possibly mean?
Whatever is in that long sequence is supposedly meaningless dots and dashes. It's made the colored drink for Susato-san's face.
There's no doubt that this message is written in Japanese Morse code.
So the British Empire has been using Japanese for its secret communications?
I don't understand the reason why, but the message appears to be a list of 4 people's names.
4 names.
The first is Kei Asogi.
Okay, that's Kazuma Asogi.
Yeah.
Right. What was his name on that disc?
The second is A Shin.
Shin. Soseki Natsume. No. I don't recognize that name. Yeah. The third is T. Gregson. Tobias Gregson. Gregson? Oh, it would seem Tobias Gregson's the third man on the list. What's his name doing in secret government communication as well?
And the last name.
What's the matter, Mrs. Sato?
It's just so strange. So unexpected. Oh, what is it, Susie? Don't keep us in suspense. Last name is J. Wilson.
What? John Wilson? Wilson!
John H. Wilson? You mean Daddy?
Oh shit.
It says only J. Wilson, so I'm afraid I can't be sure. Then after the 4 names it reads, if I translate from Japanese, that is all 4. That's the end of the message. Or rather, the end of what you have noted down, Iris.
What the frig? Oh my god, I'm getting chills. This is creepy. I just can't believe it. Is that a hit list? Who would have ever thought? Yeah, Shin and Gregson. Those are only 2 people left who are still alive. Is it a coincidence? I don't know. Did those discs contain Japanese Morse code? Not to mention a strange list of some disturbingly familiar names? It would appear that this particular message is a communication of some kind between Great Britain and the Empire of Japan.
So Daddy could be in Japan then. Where Susie and Runo come from.
Well...
No, it's not very likely really, is it? I mean, there are thousands of people with the surname Wilson. Must be lots of J's among them.
Professor John H. Wilson, visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University. But we can't tell Iris about that now, we just can't. Wasn't Sholmes coming from Japan as well? Because he was on that ship. It's so strange. Somehow it's solving the case of Mr. Winniebank's murder today. I feel like I've rolled back a boulder in the mouth of a very dark cave.
I do wonder if perhaps it's a dark cave that we shouldn't go wandering inside.
All aboard!
Oh dear, the ship is going to set sail soon.
Yeah, it seems so.
I'll sail on that steamship first to the port of Dunkirk in France. Then I'll change onto a larger passenger vessel bound for Japan. You're really going then, Susie.
We wish you safe passage, Mrs. Sato.
Thank you so much. I wish all of you the very best.
Mrs. Sato, I had hoped to have you always on my side. To guide me, support me. Oh!
Miss Naruhodo,
Please, come back soon. As far as I'm concerned, you really are the very best judicial assistant in the world. Come on, man. Now's a good time.
I'm quite sure I'll be back before you know it. Really, Susie? Oh, now don't forget, Iris. I made you a promise I've yet to fulfill. Promise? Got your manuscript. Oh,
Oh yeah, Hound of the Baskervilles. In the end, even though this case is called the Hound of the Baskervilles, we didn't really do it. Well, I'll be waiting for you then, Susie. Promise is a promise. Definitely, Iris. Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah? Do you remember the first time we met? Of course. On the SS Buria when I was dragged out from that wardrobe, still half asleep. If I remember rightly, you threw me halfway across the cabin of a Susato takedown. You know very well what I'm talking about after that. It's strange, but being thrown together as we were in that case, I somehow felt straight away that you were the perfect person to continue Kazuma-sama's great legacy. Miss Susato. And my instincts were right. I realized I really wanted to believe. No, I'm sure that I'll be back soon. Farewell until then. Then she sprints off. like a like a Terminator style, just like chugs off. This is a cutscene? It's a cutscene.
これでなるほど龍之介最初の冒険の物語はおしまいだ
Oh, Wagahai's there too.
思えば不思議な運命に導かれてここまで来たような気がする
Oh, cute white Waggy. Oh, he's so cute. Look at him. Oh, he's so cute. God, I love cats.
僕は弁護士になって異国の街で名探偵と出会ったこれからもきっと
Is that an
様
anime?
々な困難が僕を待ち受けているのだろう
Is that an anime for the Great Ace Attorney? I think that was an anime for Ace Attorney, but I'm not sure about this one.
大逆転できるそんな気がするだって僕には世界最高の仲間がいるのだから
Yay! Are we done? Are we done? Oh, not yet. Ah, yes, Miss Naruhodo. Yeah, Mr. Sholmes? I have some rather awkward news. The railway company has decided to sue of the special express train, apparently. Huh? Caused such a commotion in the line. All the other trains had to wait at stations. But really, we would never have made it to Dover in time otherwise. Anyway, I explained everything and how it was all your fault. Huh? Huh? I believe a formal complaint should be delivered to your office tomorrow. But not to worry, my dear fellow. According to Miss Susato, you'd love defending yourself in court. Huh? Huh? It's alright, I'm perfectly happy to testify. He really didn't look like the sort of man who'd do something so outrageous. See? Mrs. Sholmes? Yeah? A word, if you don't mind. Why, certainly. Any word you like. Bellow it out, my dear fellow. Oh, yeah. I love Runa's words. I know just the one he'll use here. Then, I really must say... Hey! Yay! Good job! Good job, everybody! Good job to the people who made the game. It's really... You know, it really is very Ace Attorney-esque, and following weeks, hundreds of music boxes arrived at Baker Street from all over Europe. Something was afoot. Though it transpired I had ordered them all myself. Yeah, you did. I do remember. So I advertised them for sale with use by Mr. Sholmes to solve an important case. And the money I've earned consulting detective work pays a pittance by comparison. So yeah, I'm like I said, I'm glad this is over. Glad in a sense that, you know, I'm glad we're done with the game, but I haven't slept a wink. This manuscript is due tomorrow now. When I'm this busy, Hurley usually cooks me breakfast. Well, cooks is an understatement for some dry toast and insipid coffee. I do miss Susie and her lovely Japanese breakfasts. But yeah, I'm glad this is over because now I can continue on to the sequel. But I think I'm gonna take a break in between for now, just to kind of like sort out my other games that I have. Oh,
Witness your testimony. It's riddled with contradictions. Exactly. Rarely do rare Koban coins hide on the rare stakes themselves.
well, I don't know. Son knows his father is an innocent man. Are you calling my son a liar? Witnesses, my courtroom is no place for your petty arguments. Okay, I think it's just like a continuation, so I'm just gonna pause right there. Oh, I'm gonna skip it. Sorry, guys. Sorry, great job. Great job. I don't mean to undermine your work, but amazing job, guys. Yep, like I said, I'm glad this is over, but I do want to focus on my other games first. So I will take a break from Great Ace Attorney, and maybe, like, I do have a couple of games I have in the making right now, so I will work on those first. But once I'm done, I will definitely come back to the sequel to Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I think it's called Resolve, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, in any case, I guess this is it for now. So if you like what you see and you like what you hear, be sure to like, subscribe, and get that bell on to stay up to date on all my latest videos. As always, be safe, take care, and I'll see you my soon. Peace!